I watched a couple of videos recently where Matthias Wandel made a dowel cutting jig. And he was making his out of wood. And repeatedly stated in the video, a lot of people in the comments of his first video were saying, you should just 3D print this. It just makes more sense to 3D print because it's faster to iterate, whatever. And he had a follow-up video where he made the point that his CNC was both using basically free material for him, and he was able to churn them out iterations in like 5 minutes, and sometimes just make changes to an existing part, not even have to remake the whole thing, just maybe dish it out a little bit deeper or something along those lines. Anyway, he also made some statements that I don't agree with. All that I fully agree with. He also made some statements that I don't fully agree with. He was saying that he'd have to print the part solid in order for it to be strong enough, and that's just not true. You need to have several perimeters, but yeah. And the printing speed, yeah, these took on the order of 2 hours on my printer. Mine is a relatively old printer, so on a brand new one, you'd be looking at more like an hour, not 5 minutes. So he's totally right that the turnaround time, for him at least, was better. Now, I don't have a CNC, so I had a 3D printer, and also knew that one of his points about this was that it wouldn't stand up to abuse. And he showed that the burnished inside of one where he had tested it with driving hard with his drill. I did a similar go on my first round of this. It wasn't deep enough for one thing, but also just in the first test, I don't know if you can see close up. Maybe I'll come right. Yeah, see that molten plastic? Yeah, it just the friction with the dowel just melted, and this dowel is now permanently glued in place in this one. That doesn't mean the plastic is not going to work at all. It just means it's not going to be working at the speeds that he was showing in his video. I think that this is totally viable at slow speeds, and I wanted to give it a go. Now, I won't be sharing this model even if it does work, because he's selling these, and I don't want to put a model out there that's going to compete with his. So that worked pretty well, apart from the fact that when I cut this on the bandsaw, I did not cut it perfectly square. It wasn't exactly half by half. It was smaller than a ½ inch on this dimension. So I'm going to try that again with a new dowel, or a new stick. Bear with me. The friction is such that you do really have to go slow. When I did the one that just jammed up and melted, I was going basically at the same speed that Matthias was doing in his video. Clearly, that's not possible with plastic. It's just, it will melt. Clearly, it isn't impossible to make one of these out of plastic. This is good enough for making the occasional dowel for me, if I can get that trick figured out of getting the stock close to size. Perhaps if I was to plane them into octagons before running them in, that actually might give this a little bit of a head start. Maybe I'll make another video about that. Let me know if you want to see it.